Welcome back for another episode of The Legend of Azure Wins. I'm Sebastian, and here I am joined by our amazing heroes. Say hello, amazing heroes. Yes, okay, fantastic. And away we go with a recap. Last session on The Legend of Azure Wins. After escaping from Saya's house and a close encounter with her parents, the gang headed to the Honey Pot Hotel to get some rest. Lapis and Daoku returned to Sake to notify Mamushi of the mysterious illness plaguing the elderly in Sake District. During their absence, Lee was woken by Mama Mo to take care of some drunk and violent harassers. Song and Ursa joined him, and after dispatching the miscreants, are gained to learn that Yoshi was a regular at one point at the Honey Pot Hotel, who wanted nothing but companionship and an ear to talk to about the ladder that he was climbing. The next day, our heroes ventured through the wilderness to seek out the cavern hideout of the gang of airbender saboteurs. Sneaking into the cavern, our heroes ambush the gang, realizing these airbenders are actually firebenders in disguise, led by Lapis's orphan friend Yoshi. After an intense battle filled with giant flame and water spheres, pinned down limbs by arrows and breaths of fire, Yoshi bent a giant fireball of self-destructive proportions, and the gang of firebenders, all aflame, fled the hideout through a secret exit behind the cavernous waterfall. Yoshi, imbalanced and chaotic, lashed out at Lapis's attempt to bring him comfort and was taken hostage. As the group left the cavern, Ursa bent down and plucked a mysterious leaf from the shores of the cavern lake. This was a leaf she did not expect to find. This was Dragon Leaf. And it is at this point that we rejoin our fantastic heroes on their adventure. Fantastic. Here we are. Now, what do I want to go to for music at the moment? Let's go actually here. So, we are in the cavern at the moment. Yoshi is essentially passed out. We're dragging them through the kind of snaky entrance of the cavern. And as we exit into the moonlight and the stars, we're gonna fade. Our camera fades to black, and we're gonna open up on a bright, sunny day in the past. And we are going to be back in Haribulkan, zooming in on a very prestigious group of buildings. And on the opening gates that leads into these buildings, this campus, if you will, you'll see a sign. And on that sign, it's written Military Academy for Girls. And as we go through this campus, we see firebending girls of all ages, mostly like late middle school to high school age, roaming the halls. The floors are a pristine white. The brick is a bright red, and the warm accents of the Fire Nation can be seen everywhere. And in the center of the campus, we see a younger Ursa sitting down. There's like this large kind of central fountain with a spire up that sees a very noble woman firebending into the sky. And she sits by this fountain, and we hear a sound that we've heard before, heroes. We hear, Ursa, Ursa, Ursa! And Saya, red ribbon in her hair, still dressed in the school uniform, coming up and sliding right next to Ursa and saying, "So, how was your weekend? Did you get all that homework done? I mean, come on. Like, what the heck? What the heck were they thinking giving us all that? Like, Master Kodai, am I really supposed to just finish all of that? Like, I'm gonna go into the woods and find all of these like plants and stuff. Like, what is all of that about? Hello? Ursa? She like waves her hands in front of you. You okay? Just... Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course you would. I knew you would. You're always doing what you're supposed to do. It's kind of obnoxious. Anyway, how do I not do what I'm supposed to do? I don't know. I just do it. Does my moral compass you sound like my uncle. Who are you? Do you realize how old you are? You do not have to be this like rigid and strict. And I know you get like the top grades in all of our classes, but you really, really can loosen up every once in a while. Great question, Master Ursa. And she bows like super, super deep to you. And behind you hear a very meek voice going, "Leave her alone, Saya." And you turn around and you see your friend Ayami. And Ayami is very shy, short, dark hair, very sweet, soft-spoken girl. You recall memories of like the first days that you went to this is a boarding school, first time that Ayami was away from home. You remember her like softly crying in your dorm room. She was your first roommate there, and you remember comforting her as she was not able to kind of get their bearings. But now she, you know, you're a few years into your studies, and she speaks up and she says, "Oh, leave her alone, Saya. She's, you know what pressure she's under." Saya says, "Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we can't all be Arshis, you know, but I guess, well, fine, I guess." And at this point in the conversation, you hear gong, 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 very loud, ceremonial type gong. It means, you know, the first classes are starting. And as you walk away from the fountains and go toward your classroom, you pick up your bags, your lunch pouch, things that you have with you. You see a very tall figure, this tall girl, jet black hair, like super long. And you see as she walks by, she trips Ayami as you're walking in, and she like puts her foot in front of her and like pushes her from behind, and then looks down at her and says, "Sorry, didn't see you there." "But I guess you're so close to the ground. Doesn't matter anyway." And she starts to walk away. You do that. So you tap her on the shoulder. Everyone else is kind of moving past you. They're going to their classes. So it's very quickly just becoming kind of like you and her. You tap her on the shoulder. She turns around and she goes, "Ursa, Arshi, are you going to help your little friend?" And you know this person. You know, you've known her since you were young. This is Sakura. And Sakura is very wealthy, comes from a very noble family, has ties to old clans in the Fire Nation, very well perspective. You would say, if someone were to ask you if who's the better like warrior between the two of you, you don't know if you could actually say at this point. So there's that kind of level. She's tough. She's a tough cookie. Mm-hmm. Your attention. You know, the funny thing about you and your family is you think everybody's thinking about you, but nobody's thought about you for the last 100 years. And then she turns on her heel and goes to her class. As she turns, she runs into someone that she didn't realize was standing there, and like, and you hear, "Now why don't you pick on someone your own size?" And this is your friend Kaisuke, who is very down to earth, very focused, make sure nobody messes with any of her friends. This is like the enforcer of your group. And as soon as this altercation happens, you see Sakura kind of bumps into her and just kind of does this very graceful like spin move around her, and says over her shoulder, "No use fighting with trash," and just walks into her class. And so Kaisuke comes to you and says, "I saw what you did to Ayami," and you can tell she's like, her teeth are gritted and her she goes, "You okay?" To you, Ursa. Yeah. And she helps Ayami up, as Ayami kind of brushes herself off. The three of you go to your class. And as you are about to enter your classroom, Kaisuke, you see Kaisuke says, "Give me a second. I'll be back." And she leaves you as you're about to enter your first classroom. You go into your first classroom, and it's very rigid. Let me try out the first of these new tracks here. Let's see. Yeah, this is good. It's very kind of rigid. Everything's kind of very flowery around. You see different kind of like plant specimens all over the wall. This is very much like a science herbal class. And as everybody takes their seats in these lines of rows, and you take your seat, you see this very like minuscule elderly man walk in with these very thin glasses and white hair, and he comes in and goes, "Hello, class. First, we will state our allegiance to the Fire Nation," and everyone very rotely, pledges their allegiance to the Fire Nation. We didn't write anything for this, so we're just all going to imagine this in our heads. It's very strange and imperialistic. It kind of sounds like the Pledge of Allegiance we do here in the United States. So anyway, everybody says their pledge to the Fire Nation, and he says, "Now today, class, I would like to talk to you about your adventures into the wild, and let me know what you have found for your plant and herbal homework. Anyone? Anyone? Yes, Ursa." And there's a very worried look upon Master Kodai's face. Dragon leaf? You say it? Well, and he grabs his cane and shovels. Well, Ursa, well, please, bring it here. And you see just very quickly, he like, from the side of his glasses, he like takes out an even smaller like lens and puts it in front of his glasses. Well, interesting. Very interesting. Oh, Ursa. Now, this is a very, very wonderful lesson for all of us to learn. This is not dragon leaf. He holds it up, says, "This, now Ursa, I don't blame you or your eye. This is a cousin of dragon leaf. A cousin of dragon leaf that looks exactly like dragon leaf, but doesn't have any of its medicinal properties. This is essentially useless, but we can learn the material and the look of dragon leaf from this leaf. This is often called the fool's gold or the fool's leaf, as many a person such as yourself, Ursa, who believes to have found dragon leaf, really have just been played. Now," and turns around and goes to the board. "While we're on the subject, what is Dragonleaf, and you can see he writes the symbols for Dragonleaf on the board. He turns to the class. What is Dragonleaf? Anyone? Okay, no one. Dragonleaf, and this is why I had my suspicions in the first place, is found near dragon nests. And it needs the nutrients from dragon droppings in order to grow. And it is a temperamental leaf. However, its properties are almost spiritual. They heal burns on the skin when applied in a salve, and when made into a tea, they deepen your connection to your firebending. Dragonleaf is an absolutely miraculous leaf that we all should be so very proud when we find. And as this right in between, we hear gong, 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 gong. Very high pitch, very loud, and very loud ceremonial gongs. And after the gongs for about a minute, everybody instinctually gets up. Ursa, you know this sound to be the rhythm and the pitch of the gong signifying an Agni Kai. And so everybody gets up, and we hear actual like drum music being played by the musicians who are part of like the music club in the school, and everybody instinctually, this is a regular thing that happens. Everybody gets out of their seats, and as these high gongs play, you can see Master Kodai going, "Oh, for the love of but okay, go, yes, of course, that, yes, you all should just blow each other up, I suppose." And you see into the halls, all of the girls filing into this back area that looks very similar to the training pit that we found Ursa in the first episode. It's this very large rectangular sand, and there is this thick tension in the room as people kind of filter into these seats that surround this area for firebending and training. Ursa, what are you looking for as you enter this kind of back area? What catches your mind? What are you thinking in this moment? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Roll with creativity. Let's go. Nice, 11. Yeah, on an 11, you immediately find Ayami, you immediately find Saya, you cannot find Kaisuke though. So as you're all filtering in, Ayami comes up like and grabs your shirt and goes, do you know who? Well, did you know? Was it scheduled? Was this like a planned? Was this a planned one, or is this just like a Sai? And then Sai comes up and goes, fight, Agni Kai! And basically like jumps on your back, like and so you are basically like have Ayami on your side, and then you have Saya on your back, and you're giving them like basically a ride to the training grounds. As you enter and you look around, you see nobody out on the sands. Nobody out there. Initially, you grab your seat. Anything else you want to look for, anything you want to say, I'll let you just kind of have a little bit of freedom in this moment. You right now you have Sai on your back. When you get to your seats, yes, you are free. You have like your backpack, but you can set all that down once you get to a seat. Yeah. Yeah, so you can think of this as like almost like a volleyball court. Like if we were to see this without a net, this looks like a volleyball court. There's no one on the volleyball court, the sand volleyball court, but around it there are like bleachers that are covered in canopies. So there is seating all around this court. This looks like a very ritual thing. You know from your time here, this is an academy that like the academic stuff people blow off. It is all about firebending here. It is all about who can be the most badass firebenders, and Master Kodai is like a teacher here that is not like the rest of the teachers. They care about academics, they care about learning about the world, they care about the spiritual nature things. Everyone else is just like, I want you to punch a hole through your opponent with a fireball, and that is it. And so this is very much like a sports event and a regular occurrence. And Ursa, you don't know anybody personally, but there have been, these Agni Kais are known to be lethal, and can be lethal. That's a thing that has happened in the history of this school. And so you sit down, the drums continue to go. You hear again loud, high pitch, gong, 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 and you see coming forth in like robes with wraps around their chest, or taking off their black robes, wraps around their chest, flowing black pants. You see Sakura entering in the court from one side, and on the other side you see your friend Kaisuke. And you had an inkling of what might happen, and now it's kind of assured what'll happen. You see someone in basically full Fire Nation regalia, like looks like military nobility, come forth. This woman has very, 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 very short hair. This woman is your headmistress, or like the dean of students here. Their name is Mistress Anna, Headmistress Anna. She comes in to the center of the sand rectangle and announces what is happening. And she says, "This is an Agni Kai. This has been challenged by Kaisuke and accepted by Sakura, and will begin now." And as she steps off, the two enter, and we are going to fade back to the present. We're going to fade back to the present. We are out of the cavern. Yoshi is unconscious. You are in the wilderness, kind of outside of Haribulkan on this island. Where would you like to go? What would you all like to do? If you would like, I can give you some options. But like, what is your gut tell y'all that you'd like to go? Yeah, it's very late. It's very late. Unconscious, but with you. Oh yeah, you're carrying him. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. Yeah. What did you say? I will say we'll roll on this, but I think you can take cover inside the cave. I think you're pretty certain that the gang is not going to come back. So if you like, upon going outside and seeing how dark and wildernessy it is, you can decide to go back in. Is that what you'd like to do? Go back into the cave and kind of spend the night? Other options are we can go through the wilderness and try to go back to the capital. We can go through the wilderness and try to go to the guiding wind camp. Those are two options that I would say are available to you. You can try to yell really loud to try to get someone's attention. You can do whatever you like at this point. Great question. Yeah, absolutely. Lee, you do that. You tie his hands behind his back. Um, fantastic. He is bound, and unless he knows how to breathe fire, this will render him essentially unable to bend in any combat capacity. So here's how it'll be a similar check to when we traveled through the wilderness to get to the caverns. So the check for going back through the wilderness right now at night is going to be, I'll let you just know, it's going to be more difficult than staying the night at the caves. Hmm. Hmm. Awesome. So you all, having seen the pitch black, you came in here, it was a bit dusk. You could still see some greenery. You saw some animals. You come out of the cave and you see just nothing. It is complete void. And upon staring into the void together for a few moments, you feel a chill run down each of your spines, and you decide perhaps it's safer to stay in the cave. And you turn around, carrying Yoshi with you back into the cave, and decide to take turns keeping watch. Who are the first two that would like to keep watch? Who keeps the first watch? Ursa? Ursa and Song? Awesome. So, Lee, and Lapis and Daoku, you all try to find a space as comfortable as possible. You have the sound of the rushing water from the waterfall going into that kind of shallow underground lake, or sorry, cavernous lake in the background. And Ursa and Song, you keep the first watch. And I want each of you... I want each of you to give me a roll and take a +1 if you have a wilderness background, and take a +1 if you have a military background. Okay, that good. Four, fantastic. Okay, so yeah, just to roll a 2d6 and add the +1. Yeah, so 4 and a 7. Awesome. So I'll let y'all that'll be kind of your awareness levels for this night, for this first part of the night. But I'll let y'all, if you want to RP just kind of your first watch, if you want to, you are honestly a few hours away from a very intense battle where you both just fought together, creating this water flame shield, setting a whole gang of firebenders aflame, and then having them, rush away, seeing Yoshi do this huge catastrophic firebomb Hadouken, and basically almost blow himself up. And then, of course, Ursa finding this leaf that you found. So I'm going to just give you all space to RP this first watch. Do you know? Wait, do you know? I guess my question would be for Ursa, is that Ursa, did you hide this finding of yours? Perfect. Ursa, do you give the flower, like, do you give the flower to Song to look at? Song, as you take the flower in your hand, you can see, like, it's a leaf unlike any you've seen before. This looks like, legitimately like scales. It's like a scale pattern of the leaf, and you can see on, like, closer examination, like, there are little leaves on top of each other, as if they're scaled over, almost like armor. It's flexible, but you can feel that it's very strong for a plant. And you're quite taken by it. Song, you realize in that moment that you said those words and have this memory of this like time in your life, and you're now just realizing, like, that you've never really, like, that thought never occurred to you before. Like, it's almost like something that you said instinctively, but now you're just remembering, like, wait, I don't remember remembering that, if that makes sense. So it's almost like a memory of yours has just kind of been unlocked in this conversation that felt like it was under ice for a long time. Ooh. Song. I want you to roll me a focus or creativity. Actually, focus, creativity, or harmony. Your choice. On a 9, when she says, do you remember how they smelled, you remember very, very vividly your face being face down in, like, very earthy, dense greens, that are completely, like, dew. They're wet, and you remember very intensely the smell of the soil, and it reminds you of your dreams that you've had of late. But in those dreams, you can't smell anything. In this moment, you can smell it. As you finish this conversation, Song, your balance is shifted toward community. Ursa, your balance shifts, but this conversation that kind of reminds you of this battle of, you know, what you think life is and what life is for other people, I'm going to let you choose how it shifts either toward tradition or toward progress. And you see this tiny candle in front of you that you all lit to kind of keep time. It's now kind of withering away, and it's letting you know your first watch is over. And so you gently wake all three, Daoku, Lee, and Lapis, and check the bonds of Yoshi. Before you do that, I can let y'all, if you have any final things to say before you end your watch, I'll let you go ahead. Y'all trade places. You get comfortable as much as you can. Song, you go as close to the water as you can. I'll let you decide if you want to do training before you sleep or if you want to get some rest first, but you are as close to this lake as you possibly can be. The sound of rushing water soothes you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's impressive about that is that you're bending water with your water hand. So it's like you're bending water that's bending water. It's like anybody. Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But for anybody looking on, it looks absolutely um, stupendous. It's like it's stunning what they would see. Um, Lee and Lapis and Daoku. I would like you all to make me a roll and give me +1 to that roll if you have a military background and +1 to that roll if you have a wilderness background, and let me know what you get. Eight, and 5. Awesome, sweet, good to know. Let me. Awesome. So it is your watch. The ladies. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, but did I say it like that? I just whenever anybody says ladies, I'm worried that it's like ladies. Yeah, no. Song and Ursa have gone to bed. It is now your watch. How did I'll just kind of put out like a general icebreaker question for y'all to start your RP with, which is just a natural question of like, how'd you sleep? Huh? So Daoku, you go over to the lake or the waterfall. Absolutely. Um. Oh gosh, excuse me. You. So sorry. You notice as you go over to the lake, things that you didn't notice during the battle. Like there are fish. There are fish in this cavern lake. Like there is life. There are lots of plants by the bank. There's quite a small ecosystem here by this lake, and the rushing water keeps it fresh and keeps it vitalized and clean. And yeah, man, sure. Let me know. Yeah, I think with your background's military and wilderness, so absolutely. Just roll with focus. Give me a roll with focus. An 11. Yeah. So, tell me what you do. like amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Daoku's just like, you're a disappointment to your family. So you do that. This fish is a very large white koi fish with like a black black eye around. It's just it's absolutely beautiful and strong, and like people would talk to their entire families about catching a fish like this, and many people, yeah, many people in the Fire Nation would catch it with pride and then put it back. You take this glorious fish and hold it and just quickly give it this like singe of death that's basically like a bullet to its brain. And you take back both the canteen of water and this fish to the watch where y'all are watching. So so Daoku comes back with this fish and the canteen to Lapis and Lee. On the rolls that you had, I'm gonna say that you like obviously, and you're also a firebender, Daoku. Like you have like a small flame going, like you're able to just get some tinder and have your flame going. Lapis, what's your demeanor here as you keep this final watch for the night, the second half watch? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Lee, you see Lapis, and as Daoku goes and comes back, and during that time, you're kind of observing Lapis, and if it's not too forward of me, I'm gonna say you're a little confused. You don't understand exactly intuitively why Lapis seems to be so withdrawn. How the scene is to me, a song is resting by the lake, and there's a fire that you both are sitting around. Yoshi is kind of resting very close behind you all, as is Ursa, and Daoku is just making their way back to this kind of campfire-esque um, thing you got going. Think very small bonfire. Mm-hmm. At this point, Daoku, you come back. You're back at the fire, and you've heard this last part of this conversation. So it sounds like Lee, you and Daoku are trying to guide and comfort Lapis in this moment. So I want both of you to make a roll with harmony. And Daoku, what did? Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna say, Lee, you can mark a fatigue and help Daoku's guide and comfort to make it a 10. Yes, while you're yes, yeah. So that's great. That's great. So the three of you, actually all five of you, you can erase all of your fatigues. Your conditions stay unless you RP'd them away. And then a slight rule change is that you can choose where your balance is between where it. Remember this rule that we did. You can bring it back to center if you want, but you can choose whatever space between where it is before your rest and center after your rest. So if you ended at like +3, you can choose to leave it at +3 or move it to +2, +1, or 0. Just so it gives you the, it's not a long rest does not immediately center yourself. Your balance is after a long rest is more in your control now. Your rest was after the interaction. Yeah, so you had your interaction that shift your balance, and then you rested. So now you can go +3 to 0 after your long rest, and you can do that now. Yeah. Lee, did you mark that fatigue? So, Daoku, you roll a 10 on guide and comfort. So, with Lee's help, how do you continue to try to help Lapis in this situation? And then Lapis, you can read, and you can either choose to embrace this guidance that's about to happen or shut them down. Daoku, as you hear what Lee is saying, and as you kind of think of what you were going to say, his words remind you of the night of training with your sons. You kind of get these flashes in your memory of lightning and the silhouette of your youngest son. as you both say this, Daoku, your balance shifts one toward trust. It's the first time that you've kind of told anybody about your son. You confided in both Lapis and Lee. And Lee, you shift your balance toward experience, just kind of recounting this time from earlier in your life. Lapis, how does this hit you? How do their words reverberate? Awesome. So you can clear a condition or 2 fatigue. And you can ask. Either Daoku or Lee. You can ask one question between the two of you, and then you can also shift Lapis's balance. And Lapis's balance principles are forgiveness and action. So that's the mechanical thing of what's going to happen. And now, Lapis, I'll let you continue with your thoughts on how Lapis is doing. Mm-hmm. There we see this silhouette against, you know, behind them. This fire creates this silhouette of these three men sharing their stories and you know, laughing through their tears. This laughter, it doesn't actually, but it feels to bring on the dawn. And this laughter wakes up Song. It wakes up Ursa. Yoshi stays unconscious, and you all hear a boom outside, like a very large, like, thud. And you can tell that there's a little bit of, like, light that wants to creep through the entrance of the cave. But you all wake up, and you hear this loud thud outside. What would you like to do? Also, that was awesome. Just, I think that goes without saying. That was fucking fabulous. So you're all up. The night has passed. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You declare Lapis as a protege. Also, Lapis, your balance is shifted, and Lee and Daoku, you get to decide which way if you'd like. Yeah, Lapis, what's your balance at right now? So you want to... Mm-hmm. So now you're at center. You're at 0-0. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh yeah, you can ask him a question. Sorry, I didn't mean to gloss over all of that. Yeah, oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I thought that happened I thought that happened organically. That was fantastic. So the laughter wakes everybody up, and then you hear this outside, very heavy thud from outside of the cavern. What do you do? Mm-hmm. Awesome. You all head out. I imagine, right? You head toward the sound. You begin to hear kind of a muffled voices coming from, and they're some roll me creativity. Let me know. I'll say Lapis. Roll me creativity. Okay, you don't recognize the voices. You don't recognize what they're saying just yet. So you keep making your way out of the entrance. You're now around that like final bend. You can kind of see the light pouring into the cave entrance as the sun comes up. What would you like to keep going? Okay. You begin to hear. Hello, Lapis, Shigara. Shigara? Shigara? You turn the corner of the cave, and the light blinds your eyes as you kind of stare directly into the sun. And then you hear this big groan as the sun is blocked out by a giant air bison. This is the air bison Teeny. that is the air bison of your friends G and T. And so G and T are on the other side, and they're yelling for you, Shigara, Shigara, and they're making their way around Teeny to come, and they see you, and they're like, Shigara, and so they rush to you. They give you a big hug, and immediately they're just like, oh my god, we're so glad we found you. It's been a couple of days, and we didn't know that you came back, and we were trying to find you, so we just kind of flew around Saka District, and then we heard some people, they talked to us, and they told you where you were going, and now we're here, and now we're just glad you're safe. And then they look at the rest of you. Cool. Yeah. So, good cave, or... Oh, not a good cave. All right. And G kind of like pushes T to the side and goes and just kind of gives you a hug, kind of instinctively seeing your face, and just goes and hugs you. And he's like, not a good cave, and just kind of pats your back. T instantly jumps up. Oh, cargo? Cargo? What do you mean? Oh. And you see T like goes, cargo, yeah, and sees it and goes, that's a man. Hostage. Yes, hostage. Not, let's, Chondro, and G looks back at T and goes, Chondro. And so they're just like, hop on. We don't know what to do with that, but Chondro should know. And so they basically offer you a ride to go back to the Guiding Wind headquarters. I imagine, yeah, they help you get Yoshi onto Teeny. You all hop onto the air bison, and you get one final look at this cave that has had so much happen inside of it, and you're maybe more questions than answers than when you first got there the day before. And you hear this, the air bison Teeny rises into the sky, and you get this majestic view of the entire island in the full sunlight as the sun is continuing to fully rise. And it's very quick that Teeny is able to transport you all to a place that you're now very familiar with. You are now back in the Guiding Winds, and now you see something as you land. The ride to the Guiding Wind was quiet, calm, peaceful. I think everybody's in their own space. As you land into the Guiding Wind area, you see there are women, which is something you did not see before. And these are the Guiding Wind members that you've all seen. Aki, G, Te, Chondro, all of the other acolytes were men. But now you see the camp is much larger, and there's seemingly a huge influx of what they call sisters that are now in the camp. What would you like to do as you land? G and T, I'll just let you know before you. G and T immediately hop off and say to you, "We're gonna go find Chondro," and they leave into the depths of the camp. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Oh, wow. You push Yoshi off the side. You hear some sisters gasp, and Yoshi wakes up. Yoshi like just slowly like comes to. Actually, yeah. Roll with focus. Yeah, so you see the pushing, and you instinctively like whip around and like send this air gust. It does soften Yoshi's fall. Yoshi still wakes up, but the gust is a little bit too powerful, and it ends up like slightly tripping one of the sisters behind Yoshi. And they're totally fine. They kind of lose their footing, just kind of give you this stare, and then realize it was you and what you were trying to do, and peacefully walks away. From talking to the sisters, Shigara, many of them you're just getting to know. You get the sense that that someone important has arrived. So this is kind of the camp of sisters that are around. Someone who is not. It seems like they're not there yet, but they are going to arrive. This is Ryoshan. Sister Ryoshan is incoming there already. Who knows? The gossip wheel is churning, and no one really has a clear answer of what the heck is happening. But Ryoshan is on her way, already there. We don't know. Song, Ursa, and Lee, what would y'all like to do as you, or what are y'all doing as you hop off of Teeny the Bison? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yoshi. You stand over Yoshi as he comes to, and he's just like, okay, okay, and that's kind of all he says as he first comes to. You see in his eyes that he's staring directly into yours, Ursa, as he kind of laughs, um, and gets his bearings as to what is happening around him. Mm. Mm. There's an intense moment there. You roll me either focus or creativity. You get the feeling from holding Yoshi's eye contact this long, you get the feeling that he has a secret that he is keeping from you, and that he is relishing that he is keeping from you. Something that he is holding, almost lording over you in his mind. Um, this is a feeling that you kind of got when he was losing it back at going completely imbalanced back at the cave, and it ignites again in this moment. Lee and Song. Awesome. that shifts your balance song to excellence. It reminds you of your Jubai, your teacher, and Lee. That shifts your balance again toward excellent, or toward experience. Excuse me. Awesome. You see the sisters kind of flitting about each other very silently. They're making new camp areas. They're kind of, for lack of a better word, they're kind of freshening up the camp, as it were. It looks much more. It's much more than just like sleeping bags and cots on the floor. Like there's now like a very structured people gathering, people grabbing water, people making beds, people doing prayers. Like this is now like turned into, from a small camp into a full-fledged like mini village or town. As you get acquainted and Yoshi is awake and looking around, you can see the sisters looking at Yoshi because Yoshi is wearing airbender garb, and is kind of looks a little like, people are just like, why do they have this guy in like bound? They're not pushing the issue, but they are taking an interest into what's happening. As you notice this, you see G&T come back from another section of the camp, and behind them is Chondro, and so Chondro comes up and says very sternly, "It has been told to me that you have a hostage," and he looks each of you from eye to eye, and then his eyes settle on Yoshi, and you can see a temper flare up in Chondro as he sees this airbender tied. Explain yourself. So this is one of the imposters. Who is this man? No, you don't have to call me sir. Who is this man? And he's an airbender. A firebender. Found with the group of airbenders who attacked you 3 nights ago, Ursa? Airbenders. Firebenders disguised as airbenders, led by this Yoshi. And where were they found? G&T immediately. It's a cave. They were at a cave. Yeah, we've kind of went on our own little mission, and you can see Chondro just kind of put his hand up. Yeah, totally. Yep, shutting up right now. Firebender leading a group of... Interesting. And at this cave, what did you find? You see Chondro, you see Chondro kind of like have a smirk come up on his face, and you should say, and you see him look at both you, Song, and Ursa, and say, in a whisper that seems to go only to your ears, and you get the feeling that he's bending the air that is carrying his voice to your ears, and he says very quietly, so that only the two of you can hear, "Whispering does no good around an airbending master." And then he says loudly, "Let's find somewhere private to talk. All 6 of you." He makes a gesture to the sisters. They go about their business. He takes all 6 of you up to the peak, up to this kind of peak above the canopy that he was with Lapis at the end of during his training. The 6 of you are at this peak. Yoshi's still bound, and you are all essentially just in private, alone, with Chondro. And Chondro looks at you, and he says, "I will not force you." Looks at you, Ursa. Says, "I will not force you to share with me anything that you feel like you shouldn't share. But if I can be of help to you, I will be of help to you. It bothers me deeply that it is a firebender that was at the helm of these rogues, and that they have so much, seemingly," and you see pokes at Yoshi's clothing, "seemingly authentic air nomad clothing to boot. This troubles me deeply." No. Surveillance. In a matter of speaking, yes. No. Young firebender, I seek only to bring spiritual awareness and balance to the air nomads, and to bring about an end to this connection and this fallacy that the Fire Nation nobles have created with this new fire and air center of learning. This is a rot that goes deeper than even you might know. I am open to answer any questions that you might have. What is it that you would like to know? I'm not purposefully hiding anything from you all. I just only seek to be a source of help for you on your journey, and a source for answers for your questions. No disrespect taken, but thank you, Shigara. I have no doubts of your abilities. But may I ask, what now? Will you torture this young man until he tells you what you would like to know? What's the next step of your journey? Do you know who it was who attacked you? Do you know the inner workings of what was essentially an assassination attempt on your life? That's all I'm trying to figure out. I believe our causes, our journeys are intertwined. I can only offer you the knowledge that I have, or where to find such knowledge. Yeah, Condra's great at dropping eaves. Well, I already know that. Is it a leaf that makes you feel funny? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not sure who or what the devil is, but I do happen to enjoy some herb, some bud. And it helps me greatly find connection with my inner spirit. It also makes me hungry. Condra gives you a look, Lee, that he like gives you this look like come on. Condro asks, very looking at you, Ursa. He looks at you and he says, "All funny leaf business aside, may I see the leaf that you found?" He puts his hand behind his back and he bows to you. He walks towards you and he looks at the leaf. And you said you found this in a cave. Well, I heard you whispering to your friend that you had a leaf. This is the only thing that you said you found. It seemed that... I asked you, what did you find? What did you find at the cave? I was interested in whatever you found at the cave. It could have been maps, it could have been names, it could have been all sorts of things. It seems your suspicious mind might be getting the best of you, young firebender. Yep, go ahead. I was merely trying to get more information about these attackers who are disguising themselves as air nomads. I'm in a predicament. I did not disagree with these air nomads or these imposters by sabotaging the center of learning. I was actually quite happy with their efforts. However, there is something afoot if there is Fire Nation meddling appearing like airbenders. It raises my suspicions. And it makes me think that whatever was in that cave, it might help us both. I didn't know there would be a leaf, but now that this leaf is in front of me, I don't know. No, it's far too dangerous. I'm not unfamiliar. I'm not unfamiliar with this leaf. As you may know, this is maybe dragon leaf. It's also maybe a leaf that looks like dragon leaf that is absolutely useless. What you may not know is not something I can tell you, but is something that you must experience for yourself. How familiar are you with dragons? Do you know where they live? Do you know how they live? Do you know their connection to the spirit world? It is true there is some stories about how dragons first formed the first firebending techniques. There's some truth to that. He leans forward to you all. Close enough so that Yoshi can't hear. And he says to you, there are horrors in the Fire Nation. Horrors of which I know not firsthand, but that I have felt in my meditations. If this leaf is indeed dragon leaf, and it is found in that cave with that gang who tried to assassinate you, I believe there are equally horrible plans yet to be put into motion. I can send you, I know the location where you can find actual dragon leaf, if you wish to still keep this. But I do warn you that the journey will not be easy, particularly not when you get there. Yeah, so awesome. So yeah, you say that you need some time to think about it. He dismisses you all, including Yoshi. So he keeps Shigara behind though. He says, I do not mean to be cryptic to you all. I only wish to speak nothing but truths, and for things which I am uncertain, I can only point the way. And I hope that this is sufficient. I will meet with you all in a later time. Shigara. The rest of you descend the peak. As per our last training, in this cave, were you able to take our lesson to heart? So yeah, that's okay. The lesson was the fighting technique, the twisting. He looks at you and very sternly he says, Shigara, twisting the currents of air around your body is not very impressive. Twisting the current of one's spirit, that is the true nature of our craft. And the way to find the waves of your spiritual current is to help one with theirs. If you wish to master this technique, I believe you must assist your hostage into finding balance. Do this, and you'll be a true master of this technique. And he bows to you and he sends you on his, unless, sorry, you can say something. Don't mean to. It is not a matter of bending. When you first tried this technique, were you able to accomplish it on the first try? Or even the first 3 attempts? Then, you know your answer. He bows to you. You go down the peak. You go back down into the guiding wind camp, and it's at this point that we're going to take our bio break. Welcome back, but also kind of welcome again. This is a little strange. So what happened was the first part of this session, I messed up and we recorded absolutely 0 of the audio from our magnificent players. So I'm not sure if you're going to see that in its original form. We might make a video where we dub over it and post it, but who knows? Who knows? Essentially, here's what you need to know. After last session, in the beginning of this session, we had a flashback to Ursa's days at the Fire Academy for Girls. We met Ursa's friends, Ayami and Kaisuke, and also re-met Saya in a previous time where Saya didn't, I guess, lead Ursa to an ambush. We also met their school enemy, Sakura. And after a tussle in the plaza, they made their way to their first class, which is botany with Master Kodai. Kaisuke did not join them. They learned about Dragonleaf and Dragonleaf's twin leaf, the Fool's Leaf, which has none of the properties that Dragonleaf has. So Dragonleaf can cure burns when it's in a salve. It can also grant greater firebending power. Your connection to your firebending is increased when it is made into a tea. This lesson from Master Kodai, who is generally lovely, and I'll put a clip in here of how lovely Master Kodai is, was interrupted by an Agni Kai between Kaisuke and their enemy, the group enemy Sakura. They have an Agni Kai in the middle of the school, and we then cut from that. It was very dramatic. We cut from that. The tensions were high. We did not continue. We do not know what happened with that Agni Kai. We cut back to the present, where the group is with Yoshi. They decided to stay in the cavern instead of leaving it. They took shifts during the night. Song and Ursa took the first shift and bonded over. I'll let y'all say briefly what y'all bonded over. And you are being recorded, thank goodness, now.
Song asked what the leaf was. Do you want to say what you said?
Yeah, and I essentially said that I wasn't super certain about it, that it could be one of 2 possibilities. It could be a really important leaf that would help improve the efficacy of one's firebending with medicinal properties as well, or it could be absolutely useless. which didn't feel like being bamboozled by nature, so I didn't want to say for certain whether either way. But I wanted to share that information with Song since she asked.
Song said that leaf is dope, and then kind of remembered or blurted out that she used to forage when she lived in a village when she was younger, and kind of realized that she remembered that as she was saying it, and kind of thought back harder and remembered being face down in grass and smelling the earth very vividly when Ursa asked if she remembered how it smelled. Um, and they had a little moment and said we should do this again, and Song was awkward as usual.
Ursa was really taken aback hearing that Song had to forage for food. Ursa's had that experience in the military, but it was something that she chose. So it wasn't necessarily um, it was hard for her to realize that some people don't choose to have to find things to eat outside. It was a big privilege moment. Uh, and I also asked Song about her dreams, and she mentioned dreaming of blue fire, but I didn't have any answers for her. But she seemed pretty self-sufficient in being able to find the answers for herself.
Yeah, that was the first
Yep.
watch, and then the second watch was our was Daoku and Lee and Lapis. Daoku caught a fish in the cavern lake with his bare hands, and then executed it with a bolt of mouth fire, and it was awesome. And then Lapis was guided and comforted by Lee and Daoku after the harrowing experience with his childhood friend Yoshi that he had just hours before in that battle. And the approach in guiding and comforting was sharing stories of their past. And so just briefly, like Lee and Daoku and Lapis just kind of share in that order, shared those stories that you shared around the campfire that night.
It's about family. That's what it's always been about.
About family.
Too fire,
It's about
too
family.
furious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Lee just told Lapis about how when he was a kid, or when he was a younger soldier in the Earth Kingdom army, he made an impulsive decision, ended up getting a few people killed, and he ended up going to the family of one of those soldiers that died, and along with a bunch of other people, he helped kind of take the kid under his wing for a little bit and raise the kid. And I think that was what he that was
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
These were so great. I'm really mad at myself that I didn't record them.
I think I essentially told a similar tale, but just with the referencing my son's death in a firebending kind of, he was practicing, so, and he led to his accidental death. So anyway, I brought up that story, and it's just talked about feelings of guilt and blame, and saying that, the best way to try to get past it is to just work through it together, looking forward. So that was kind of my story primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lapis is kind of conflicted with his past and his recent past hitting, like, or current present hitting this little past. So he shared his story, kind of how his family grew up in the Chin village, which is the other side of the island that Avatar Kyoshi makes. And so the village and his ancestors pretty much dislike the Avatar, dislike Kyoshi. And so growing up in the Earth Kingdom, like, it was all about Earth Kingdom, and so he was never meant to be an airbender. And so when he came about that he was an earthbender, there was an airbender.
Yeah.
When it came to he was an airbender, it was a lot of contention with his father, and his father kind of took his frustrations and his, like, ancestral hate out on him. until one day during an argument, Earth met Air, and the mom got in the middle of it. And so the dad blames him, and so Lapis essentially leaves, and then talks about how he, found his family, and then he found what he thought was going to be like his chosen family, and then that all burned down, and then, now he's kind of wondering, like, how do I reconcile all of this? So,
there were tears and there were laughing, and the Lapis's Scott, your performance was absolutely incredible, and I'm so mad at myself, but it was you had to be there and you weren't there, but now we're giving you the down low. After these very touching moments, they left the cavern after hearing a boom outside. It was G&T on their air bison Teeny, and they hopped onto the air bison with Yoshi in tow as their hostage. They went back to the Guiding Wind base. They found that there were women there now. They're the sisters that have entered the Guiding Wind camp, and Yoshi had woken up and had a moment with Ursa, with an intense eye contact moment where Ursa could tell that Yoshi was hiding some secret from her. And we eventually get a conversation with Chondro that leads to Ursa showing Chondro the leaf that she found in the cave. And so after the debrief of what happened the previous nights, Chondro says that he knows of a place that he could guide them to or show them the direction of, but that is very dangerous. And so that is where we are right now.
There was also the the whispers and rumors that
yes, that Ryoshan.
Sister Rishon.
Yeah.
Was coming.
Yes.
Was there.
There's rumors among the sisters that Ryoshan is there or coming or on her way. We don't know. The gossip mill was churning. And there was also a moment with Chondro and Shigara, or Lapis, about their mastery quest. To master their latest combat technique, they have to help Yoshi find balance. And that is where we enter now. So, okay, folks, now we can get back into our session. Oh my gosh. So, friends. So, Chondro has just released you all. You come down from the mountain, from that peak. You're back in the camp. And you have this information, very vague information, of the horrors of the Fire Nation that Chondro has felt the ripples of in the spirit world. And he has told you that he knows of a place that he can send you to investigate further, especially concerning this dragon leaf. I'm going to leave this open to you to decide what to do next.
Where are we going?
So right now you are amongst the sisters and the acolytes and the brothers of the Guiding Wind in their camp. Are you asking where you're going, like where Chondro would send you?
Yes.
Or if you I guess Chondro, you can go up and ask Chondro. He's just kind of around. He feels like this was like the conversation that y'all had was pretty tenuous, that you all didn't trust him, and he wanted to give you all some time to
We were going to huddle up.
Yeah, figure out what you wanted to do. Yes.
Okay.
Seems like our answers are we're in the direction that he told us to go, but
This feels like a
what
you
that's
question.
a lot.
A you, like a me?
No, I think Song kind of says that to like Ursa.
Oh.
I make a lot of decisions, Song, so I'm just trying to step back a bit. You know, I don't speak for the group, but I am curious to know about the leaf and its origins, but we could be walking into a trap. I don't know. My judgment...
Lapis, what do you think? Do you trust him?
I mean, I trust Conjo with my life. Actually, quite literally, I did. But I don't know. I guess for me, I'm a little preoccupied with finding out more about Yoshi and what's going on with him.
I'm
And
right here.
Guess we could ask Yoshi.
I'm right here.
It is
All
rude to
right.
interrupt when people are speaking.
It's also rude to tie them up and to take them to a radical camp with terrorists.
And one company to
Touche.
keep.
We're not terrorists, Yoshi. If anything, we're just not terrorists, okay?
Okay.
What do you seem to be laughing about, and what do you seem to want to tell us?
Just you're all
You seem to be
numb.
bursting at the seams.
You're all just clueless. You simply clueless.
My patience is running thin, boy.
Oh. Okay.
I can
Clue,
wait.
clue us in.
Oh, me? Oh, no. No. This is too entertaining. I'm certainly not going to tell you all anything.
Okay.
It's just funny that you're listening to this spiritual ripple.
It's your call,
Oh,
Ursa.
don't mind me.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do with them?
Take him with us. Find out where we're gonna go.
Me?
Yeah. You've got all the answers, right?
I have a lot of answers. And none of them are for you.
That's okay. You're allowed to keep things for yourself, as I'm sure you already know. I start to walk towards Kandro to see more about our mission.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yoshi just keeps laughing and laughing and laughing, like on the ground. You find that he's just laughing at basically anything y'all say in your conversations. He's in the background, just kind of chuckling and trying to needling at you all.
I feel like Song is incredibly annoyed and just goes, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. See? Ha! She just keeps like laughing in his face very awkwardly.
I like you.
The feeling is not mutual.
Not yet. Ursa, you go up to Kandro. He meets your eye. He meets your eyes, sees you coming. He opens his body to you. What do you say to him? Like, sorry, not Jesus Christ, not in a sexual way. He was turning this way, and he was in another conversation, and then he opened. He didn't just bend. He didn't just bend over.
He opens his robe.
My God, more in like a theatrical way, he opens his body to you to receive your question.
Whoa,
He opens his body
Condro,
to
put that
receive you.
away. Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
Where would you have us go? Is what I came to say.
There's an island. An unnamed, uninhabited island that is historically been the home of many dragons in the Fire Nation. I have felt in my meditations deep deep disturbances emanating from this island. This is where I would send you.
What's it called?
It has no name. It is toward the outer reaches of the Fire Nation. It is closest to Crescent Island.
How do we get there?
You could take a boat. You could also, if you could get one, air bison. You certainly can't walk. There's a lot of water in between here and there.
What will you do once we leave?
Ursa, you seem suspicious of me. Would you like to go for a walk?
Yes, but I just need one moment to pause and turn off my oven, and then yes, Ursa would love to go for a walk.
Ah, yes, of course. Don't leave the oven on. Condra stands there for a moment, wondering if this is some sort of Fire Nation slang, or
Steamed buns
Yeah.
or something.
It's
I don't
slang
know.
for using the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna go powder my nose. I'm gonna go turn off the oven.
I'm gonna go
The
do something
The
mysterious.
Fire Nation has just such fiery shits that their bathrooms are like ovens. Condra waits patiently.
The new
Oh.
meeting on the bun of the oven, if you know what I mean.
Numb. Look at that.
I would like some
Awesome.
of that bread, please.
I was gonna leave it in there, but then I was
None
gonna get
for me.
cold, and so I.
Yeah, absolutely. Take your time.
It's been ages since I've had a good walk.
Then join me. You both walk into just kind of the outskirts of the camp, away from everybody else. The folks who remain behind in the camp, you are treated to like lunch by the sisters, and so you all like sit around in this very large like circles, and they feed you what has been foraged that morning. And you join them in a dining experience while Condro and Ursa walk. Condro, as on this walk, he turns to you, Ursa, and says, "Young firebender, what are your misgivings? What ails your mind?"
I sense that you have an inherent distrust towards nobility.
And it disturbs you because you yourself are part of this nobility. I do not see you as an enemy, nor do I think that everybody who is inherently part of the nobility in the Fire Nation is my enemy. My views are a bit more nuanced than that.
Ooh. Would you care to elaborate?
The Fire Nation nobility is capable of great change. There are members of your nobility, young radicals who have joined our ranks, who have forsaken all of their property, all of their lands, all of their wealth, and have given it to the poor amongst your community, amongst your nation, and have created a place in its capital for them. And what is the other nobility's response to this? Do you know?
To continue to live as always.
The response is the Center of Learning. Fire and Air Center of Learning was constructed as a response of Fire Nation nobility giving up their lands, giving up their wealth, and enriching those who are poorer than them, and joining us in our pursuit for spiritual enlightenment, for connection, for community, for the study of airbending and the keeping of our traditions. And yet they have commodified it. They have standardized it. They have created a bastardized version which they control of it. And now that same, I believe, and I'm speculating, that same nobility who is propping up this center of learning now seeks to ambush it. Now seeks to sabotage it under the guise of airbenders. You can see where exactly my distrust is placed. And I believe that whoever is behind this is incredibly powerful, incredibly resourceful.
I dare not commit treason by further speculating on who of great power may have instigated these changes, and acknowledge that, as it seems, you have more reason to be distrustful of me than I of you.
Ah, and yet you were the target of the very rogues who wear my clothing. In a manner of speaking.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say.
Well, think on this. There will be a time when you must choose between what your perception of loyalty is, whether your loyalty lies with what you have come from, or to where you are going. Is there anything else that I can... Any other questions I can answer for you, Ursa?
To the DM, not Chondro. I'm seeking to clear conditions,
Sure.
but I feel like I have nothing with which to sacrifice. Or
What conditions do you have?
I have, I believe it's guilty and insecure.
Guilty. Ah, I see. Okay, I'm not sure how either of those would come to play in here.
Yeah.
Making a personal sacrifice can be a little bit more abstract, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't have to be like a tangible thing.
Yeah, and I don't have to do it. I've had them for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had a few RP interactions and haven't really done anything about them.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Don't
Yeah.
our conditions get cleared when we rest? When
No,
you do a long
conditions
rest?
don't get cleared when you rest. Only
Oh,
fatigue.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Anything else with this conversation with Chondro?
Yeah. I can ask him a question.
Okay.
Is there anything that you believe that the air nomads or the air kingdom needs right now that would be most beneficial?
Well, there is no air kingdom.
Okay.
The air nomads have, in my opinion, lost their way. The temples especially have lost their way. They have seen it that their collaboration with Fire Nation nobility is more important than keeping with their traditions. We are nonviolent. We are nomadic. We do not we should not get involved in the matters of the Fire Nation and their nobility and their lands. This sort of attachment, I believe, is detrimental to our people and our traditions. And what we need now, we need a way to sever this connection before it destroys us.
If you're interested in who you believe may have sought to ambush the Fire and Air Learning Center, it seems that the person who would be willing to destroy the connection between the Fire Nation and the Air Nomads are one and the same.
Very apt, but perhaps for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you may be right in that.
I could introduce you.
Of whom are you speaking?
The Fire Lord.
The Fire Lord. Sozin.
Mm-hmm. The very one. Unless there's another Sozin that I...
And how do you think that you would get me to see Sozin? And how do you know that we have not already met?
I don't presume to know anything about your life.
Well, if I may share with you a secret, I am engaged to be married to the Fire Lord's sister, Princess Zai-san.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My connection with Fire Lord Sozin is frayed at best.
Well, you seek to encourage other nobles to follow suit and renounce their titles, to get married, unite nations.
Our marriage is not one of uniting two nations. Princess Zai-san has adopted our ways. Princess Zai-san, I would say, has a larger distaste for Fire Nation nobility than even I do.
Well, I suppose there's nothing I can offer you, but I do appreciate your time in having educated me.
And I appreciate yours. He takes you back toward the camp. You join everybody in their meal. You see Chondro walk over to G&T and kind of speak with them a little bit. And G&T come over to you, Shigara, and say, "Hey, so big boss, big boy, big old Chondro over there. This is T, obviously. He says that you might be needing Teeny. Is that correct?"
I know it's a lot to ask, but would it be possible to borrow Teeny for a teeny tiny bit of missiony?
Well, I don't. And G kind of interrupts T and goes, "Yes, of course it would be okay." And you use your
Yep.
friendship. Yeah, you use your friendship with G. So this would have been like, without this would have been like a huge fight. But like, because you're allied with G, that alliance makes it just a simple yes. Like, yeah, of course you can absolutely use our air bison to go on whatever the heck it is that you're doing. And he hands you the air bison whistle.
That was going to be my
he
next question. I was like, can we have the whistle?
He pulls it out, he gives it to you, and he says, "If anything happens to him, happens to you, I make a far worse enemy than a friend, Shigara. Okay?
Of course, G.
All right. He'll take care of you, buddy." Pats you on the shoulder, and y'all finish your meal and are there at the camp. What's the vibe? You've had this conversation with Chondro, you've eaten with the sisters. The sisters are they're not like nuns, but they are monks. They are very detached. Like, this is a group, the Guiding Wind is a group that is all about like keeping to the ways of old in the air nomad tradition of just total spiritual or total physical and earthly detachment, spiritual enlightenment. They really they like G and T are like bridge this kind of generation of like people who are like social and outgoing, but the rest of them are kind of, there's kind of a wall there, if that makes sense. So what's your vibe as you come out of this lunch of berries and seeds and fruits and vegetables?
One thing I'd like to do, if it's possible, I have a move that's whatever I can.
Yeah.
So it's when I spend time with the locals, I can roll to kind of find out what the biggest problem they have or issue. And then whenever I act, if I hit, whenever I act upon it, I get kind of +1 towards
Sure.
future actions with that.
Sounds great. Yeah. Go ahead and roll that with Harmony.
That is a 10.
Awesome. So you're talking to the sisters. You're talking to the sisters about their life, about going there, and you realize like a big part of one of the biggest things, especially for the more spiritual and religious of them, is like having their artifacts. Like some air nomad artifacts are still at the temples. They don't know whether or not they should get them. It's a huge debate amongst their group. Do we, like, is it even worth it? Is it ethical to go back and take artifacts from them that we feel don't belong to the temples at this moment? Like this, and other people say, like, people argue with that. And so there's this kind of discord amongst the ranks of the Guiding Wind of the perhaps forceful taking of air nomad artifacts from the temples.
And since I hit a 10 or above, I can ask a follow-up question with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any aspect of that they do agree on, or is there any like special one that everyone's kind of like talking about?
You hear two sisters arguing back and forth, and she says, after Avatar Roku, the next Avatar is an airbender. Do we really want the Avatar relics in the hands of that Putzgyatso? And he's like, a Putzgyatso? You're talking about one of the greatest airbenders to have ever lived. The relics are in great hands with Monk Gyatso, and I don't think you should... Great hands with Monk Gyatso? You... I can't even have it with you. And she looks at you. What do you think?
I'm not supposed to make this more difficult. That's if I missed.
It's not more difficult. This is just the debate that's happening. This is just what you're hearing.
Gotcha. I've heard of this Monk Gyatso and his prestige as well as his radical ways, if you will. I guess I'll have to meet him to find out. I dare not judge a book by its cover, as they say.
And you see the one who is like kind of fond of Gyatso, kind of on that side of the discussion, looks at you and says, "Very wise, even for someone without their air nomad tattoos." And they kind of both kind of pshaw you as one of them is So that's the conversation that you hear amongst the sisters. That's great. That is fantastic. Any other moves that folks want to play, or any things that we might want to do? Yeah.
So I also would like to try and clear I have the shaken condition,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it says here that the way that I clear the shaken condition is to seek guidance from an old friend or mentor.
Awesome. Cool.
So I'd like to do that,
Sweet.
if possible.
Who would you see as your old friend or mentor? Would you
So
look at Chondro as a mentor, or um,
I think. So am I? Is Lee older than this guy?
Lee is older than Chondro. Yeah, Chondro.
Okay.
Lee is quite a bit older than. Well,
Yeah.
you know, Chondro is about around like Daoku's age like mid early 30s.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think if it's possible, I don't know how far away we are from town.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that maybe like somewhere around his old school. I'm sure that there's like not like a custodian. Yeah, there's like a custodian that was there when he was apprenticing.
Yeah, so that's so great. So I think that
And that, yeah, just like I know that that's like completely far away
no,
from where we
that's
are.
totally okay. Yeah. So I think you want to do around here somewhere. Is that the move that you kind of that might tag along with this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think we can definitely do that move. If you want to take, um, we'll have like this free evening afternoon. I feel like there's a general consensus that we're gonna go on this mission, even though we haven't talked about it explicitly as a group. But for this afternoon and evening, let's just see how you roll on this.
Yeah. What am I? Oh, rolling on harmony. Okay. Yeah. That's an 8 total.
That is an 8. Okay, so you can pick one. So I'm gonna say that you take the afternoon to after the meal. So after this kind of early lunch, you take it upon yourself to like visit some places around like the harbor city. And you do find an old friend in Harbor City. Which one would you like of those two?
So I
For
will
those of
pick...
you who don't know, this is a move in the Elder playbook that says when you go looking for help from an old friend in the area who you haven't seen recently, name them and roll with harmony. Oh yeah, name them by the way.
All right, so this is Jushu.
Jushu, how do you spell that?
Jushu.
Love it.
He is I think he was like a young custodian that was Lee's age when he first started apprenticing. And I'm going to pick that they aren't caught up in their own problems.
Awesome. So you during this meal, everybody's eating their meal. Lapis, Shigara, you go and you talk with the sisters. Ursa, you go on this walk with Chondro. Lee, you take this opportunity as you feel like there's a lull in kind of the activity of the group, and you just go on a walk.
I'll take anyone with me if they want to go.
Oh yeah, does anyone want to join Lee on this walk?
Sure, I'll go.
Sure. Awesome.
Nice.
So Lee and Daoku, you both just kind of go on this walk. You find your way to the down through the kind of jungles and onto the beach, and you just make your way. You can see up to your right the volcano up in the distance, and you walk along basically the beach until you get to Harbor City, and you find in Harbor City the person that you are secretly looking for, Lee, and it's the custodian Jushu. Describe Jushu. You see him You see him working as a fisherman in the dock, just as old as you, but still like working manual labor.
Mm-hmm. So Lee is going to he's gonna come up to like he's like 6 or 7 feet away from him, and he's going to say, "You missed a spot."
Do
Oh.
you know that guy?
And nope, no.
No. What does
Uh,
Jushu look like?
So Jushu is so when he was a kid, when they were young men, he had like ass length, long brown
Love it.
hair that he would tie in a like a ponytail.
Yeah.
And he was just there was always just a layer of just stuff on him from like just
Awesome.
constantly cleaning. But he did the best job. I think nowadays, I think he probably still has that long hair. I think that's
Yep.
probably how Lee recognized him.
Love it.
Because he made some promise when they were kids. He's like, "I'll never cut my hair. I'll never
Yeah.
cut my hair." And so I think he might still have like some like remnant of his old outfit.
Awesome.
I don't know. I mean, that's
I
up to you.
love
But,
that. I love that. So you see this like long white braid of this fisherman like just kind of like sending out their net near the harbors of Harbor City. You call out, you missed a spot, and whips around. The whole hair whips around. I missed a spot. Who in the heck would say that I... You. Ha ha ha. Well, look who the cat dog drop. Well, how does that phrase go, Lee? Lee, how
It
does
is,
the
look what the owl cat dropped on my
look
doorstep.
what the owl cat dropped on my doorstep? Ah.
What in the hell did I just get into?
You have a lot of nerve to come up to me and talk to me about what a bad job I'm doing. You know, and you see he kind of comes up to you with like a fist, like shaking at you.
So Lee says, I am sorry to interrupt your fishing, my old friend.
Not sorry enough to not do it.
Daoku,
You know, if you were really sorry, you wouldn't have done it in the first place.
yes, it was. We were young men, children.
You were a young child. I was a man since I was born, scrubbing your shit all over the... You know how much this guy sweats? He looks at you, Daoku. You know how much this guy sweats? He sweats so much. It's a lot. It's a lot of sweat, I tell you. It's a lot of sweat. How does the phrase go, Lee? When someone sweats a lot? How does that phrase... How does that... He sweats like a...
Sweats like...
it's a buffalo. He sweats like a buffalo. A buffalo
sweats
boar in a
like-
sauna. That's what it is.
Yes, a buffalo
That's
boar
what it
in a
is.
sauna. of
That's
course.
the-
I see.
The
That's
classic
phrase.
Fire Nation saying.
He whips his hair and he goes, "Hey, you owe me an apology, Lee. An apology. You know what I mean."
Of course. So Lee gestures to Daoku, or there's Lee gestures to Jushu, and he says, "Daoku, this man is Jushu. He was. I suppose you are a fisherman now, but he was one of the best custodians that I have ever seen. He could polish a shield so brightly that it could blind the entire front line of an enemy army.
That was good.
And when
That was
we
really
were...
good.
Yes. And he is a man that I owe a great apology. And Lee gets down on his hands and knees and gets ready to bow. And he says, "Many years ago, you had thrown a party at the end of our learning semester.
I remember.
You had your eyes set on a young lady, and you told me that you were going to ask her to dance, but it was I who danced with her." And Lee bows very low, and he says, "I am very sorry."
And what happened to that lady? Do you know?
So Lee,
Huh?
I have tea now.
Do you?
So Lee says, well, we ended up going home together, but that was not, the point.
And did you ever find out what happened to her after you left?
Well, after the incident, I did not really look back.
You didn't
At
look
anyone.
back. You didn't look back. And he gets really close to you. And I'm glad you didn't. She's my wife! And he pulls out, he goes, "Look at all these kids." And he just pulls out these like sketches. "Look at all these kids. I got kids, Lee, and grandkids, Lee. And you took her home that one night, but I guess she's waiting at home for me right now. And guess what? You're not gonna see her again. I'm not gonna let you see her, Lee, because I know she'd run crawling back to you. I know that she would. But I have lost the battle. And you, this is a lesson for you. A lesson for you, man. You may lose many battles in your life, but you always gotta win the war. And for the war of her heart, I lost that battle. And many battles after that. And even more battles after that. And some more battles after that. But eventually, I won the war. Apology accepted, Lee. Now what the fuck do you want?
Lee... So Lee says, very recently I found myself outnumbered. And even more disturbingly, I found myself outmatched.
Well, you're old.
I suppose, looking at you, seeing your deft hands that were once used for cleaning, now used for fishing, seeing you enjoying your life, enjoying getting older, I fear that in my age, I will be unable to fulfill my duties. And it does not sit well with me. I have been... And Lee kind of holds out his hands, and they're trembling a little bit. It says, "These hands have always been ever steady on my bow. But now I find that I am unstable."
6, 9, 1, 4, 5. Repeat it.
6, 9, 1, 4, 5.
You old bastard. Your mind's sharp as the swords I used to polish. You're old, Lee. Sometimes you don't have to fight with your hands. Sometimes it isn't waxing on and waxing off. Sometimes, and most times at our age, we fight with our minds. Our minds, Lee. Your mind is as steady as ever. And you, what do you fight for him? Why is he doing all the fight? You fight. He can watch. You fight. He watches. Okay?
He's proven himself pretty useful.
Oh, I'm
in,
sure he's always his
in
biggest critic.
combat.
Are you looking for a practical solution to this, Lee? Or is my pep talk enough to get you out of my hair? It's a lot of hair.
I hope that it... My old friend, it was very nice to speak to you.
Mm.
And please give Jenny my best.
I won't. Your best is better than what I got. Why would I give her that? Jenny's gonna stay 1,000 leagues from you, and that's how it'll be for until one of us is in the grave. He goes to you. He reaches into his back pocket, and he says, "Now, if all that mind shit doesn't work for you, try this. I rub it on my hands every day. You're not the only one with shaky cahoots." And he puts this small little, like, it looks like it's like a little thing. It's like a little bowl. I want to say it looks like the crew, like the crew hair pomade shit. Like that's basically what it looks like. He puts that in your hand. And he grabs you by the back of your head, and he puts his forehead to yours, and he says, "Cleaning for you and watching you work, and that Izuku is the greatest honor of my life. I wish you well, Lee. It's good to see you."
It is good to see you too, my friend.
He releases his grip on your head. He gives you a very deep bow. You actually hear his back crack, and you feel like a very kinship with him as his back cracks as he bows. And he says, "Now buzz off. I got fish to catch for the missus." And you look in your hand, Lee, and you see a familiar looking canister of salve.
Yep.
And you hear this voice like, "You're Lee? My name's Lee." There's two types of Lee in this world. And you open it and you see that it's like half gone. And as you're like looking at it, you're beginning to notice more details about this salve that you really didn't notice as the old or the young guy was harassing you as you entered the Royal Plaza. You see on it that mainly it says that it's a burn salve. There's not like branding on it as much, like a name or anything like that. But you do see on the back there is a blue flame, like a logo on the back, like that it's been stamped on the salve. And so you have that now in your possession. And you do you want to try some of it? Like, do you want to try it on your hands or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I think I also want to offer some to Daoku.
Sure.
He's gonna scoop it, and he's gonna like look at Daoku and just like offer a little gloop.
Thanks.
Yes, of course. Apparently, it also works as a burn salve.
Daoku, you recognize it as something that like it would be in like a first aid kit. It's not in this particular package or like in this like packaging, but like the material of it does feel familiar to you as something that you would put on burns in your military experience. Lee, you put it on your hands, and as you rub on your hands, you feel this kind of inflammation in your hands slowly start to decrease. And there's like this tingling feeling that kind of seeps in, and you do reach your hand out, and it shakes a little bit, but over time it gets less and less. And as you walk away from the harbor, and back toward the wilderness, you're surprised at this effect. What else are you feeling as you make your way back to the Guiding Wind? Or I don't even want, maybe that's presuming too much if you wanted to do anything else.
No, I mean, unless like Daoku, I can let's look to Daoku and be like, "I'm so sorry. Was there anything that you wanted to do?"
No, that was
I just
a
feel like
fun
we were doing
experience.
everything that I wanted to do, and I don't want to hog all of your time. Very appreciative that you came with me into town.
No, it was just good to get some steps, and I was curious to meet your old friend. He is quite the character.
Yes, when you get to my age, a good friend is a very important commodity.
Indeed,
You
it
never
is.
know when you will be in a tough spot.
Yeah.
As you walk along the beach into the wilderness, the stars and the moon start to share the sky with the sun. And we're gonna go back in time, so the stars will go back and the sun is up in the air. And Song, I just want to say, like, what do you want to do after you see Ursa go off with Chondro? You see Lapis with the sisters. You see Lee and Daoku kind of disappear. What comes to your mind in this moment?
I think she kind of just feels at home, like in a monastery again.
Yeah.
And she it's like very quiet and she doesn't feel expected to say anything and she's like, "Oh yeah."
Awesome. I'm
She's just reveling.
do you want to train at all? Do you want to like practice at all while you have time? Is that something that Song would want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I could see her asking around if anyone could teach her like some airbending moves to incorporate into waterbending.
You don't find any airbending like masters, but you do find people that you can spar with, and you do kind of gain some insights into their airbending techniques. You also, as you go back, as you're like around that pond that you were at, which is where you start to like do your kind of training. You gather a crowd around you of sisters who like are impressed with your skill, and that's how that gets started. So you are just training on your own, and then very silently these sisters kind of come up one by one and are oohing and eyeing, and one finally steps forward and says, may I, and kind of gets into a position to spar a little bit with you. I want you to let's see. So, as you spar with him, I don't know if airbending is available to your skills in training. So I was looking at your extraordinary skill to see if we could incorporate that. But it says that it has to be available to your skills in training, which we haven't chosen your second training yet. Do you have an idea of what you would want that to be?
Like a different kind of bending?
Yes, so you are allowed bending weapons technology as a second training for you. And you can learn other techniques from other bending styles and apply them to water bending.
Right. I don't
To
know if I want
other
to
style.
pick another style yet.
Awesome. So I'm gonna say you train. You gather this this crowd around you. You begin sparring with some of the sisters. One of them comes up to you. And roll me a focus. Roll me a focus check right now.
12.
A 12. Amazing. So as you're sparring with this sister, you're able to like weave this like DNA helix, like this triple, like double helix of water from the air, and like you whip it around yourself and send it at them and like knock them on their butt. And everybody is just so in awe of not only how effective it was as like a combat technique, but just how beautiful it was. And the person gets up, bows to you, and comes up to you, and the sister says, I've never seen such beautiful and powerful bending. How is this possible? How are you able to bend water in such a way?
I think Song like thinks about it and is like, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. I don't know.
Would you care to meditate with me?
Okay.
And as she like takes you over to the side of the pond and she asks you, she goes, have you meditated before?
Yes, I lived in a monastery for a long time. I am no stranger to meditating.
So she goes, I wonder if maybe I've learned so much just from sparring with you and watching you this afternoon. Maybe there's something that I could teach you. And she sits you down, and you both sit cross-legged across from each other. And she begins to kind of like teach you this breathing technique as you begin to meditate. And she begins to teach you like how to keep open with your air, like basically like using your muscles. You're not an air bender, but just like using your muscles to like keep yourself open in your breathing as you meditate. And you both begin to like slowly undulate like back and forth. And you begin this meditation process. You don't know how long you've been meditating for. You get kind of lost in this trance. I want you to roll with harmony for me.
11.
An 11. Unbelievable. As you're doing this, you feel yourself slip into a timeless state. And you are able to, for the first time, slip into a state where you are above yourself. And you are seeing the earth speed away from you. And it comes crashing back. And you are now above yourself, not in the guiding wind camp. You are above yourself in a small wooded village. And you see your body face down. It's dark. The grass and flowers are all covered in dew. And you see glimpses of fire. And you feel a heat on your back and on your face. And you hear echoes of screams. And you're pulled back. The earth flies beneath you, and you are now above yourself, swaying. And then you both together come back into your bodies. And you open your eyes, and you have a clearer sensation of that memory that you've been dreaming of than you've ever had before. And the sister opens her eyes. Says, "What?" And you both look up, and you see there's stars in the sky. She says, "How long have we been sitting here?"
More than a couple minutes.
"Oh, I'd say so." And she holds your hand and she looks into your eyes. She says, "You are truly something."
Okay.
If you would ever like to meditate with me again, please. My name is Aya.
I think Song is just kind of like, okay. She's just like, he's like,
And she says, my apologies. I will leave you in peace. Thank you. Thank you. And she walks away. As she walks away, you get the feeling that she had as like momentous a meditation like session as like you did. Like it was like there was clearly something that changed in her. And how do you feel coming out of that? Coming out of this? How does Song feel?
I think she feels a weird disconnect because she knows this was her and she knows this was her memory.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like it feels like someone else's memory that was like implanted into her brain.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows it was her. So she's very confused and feels really very angry, but she doesn't know why.
Awesome. This afternoon with these sisters and this sister Aya in particular shifts your balance toward community.
I'm just going all over the place today.
That's great. That's good. Your character's all over the place today. Fantastic. It is now evening in the Guiding Wind camp. You all reconvene. You get a good night's rest. I don't think anybody took any fatigue. And from your very eventful day, you all sleep soundly, except in the middle of the night, you hear...
I just like take a pillow and just
and you hear
all right.
you're is there anything you'd like to do? Would you like to sleep through it? Do you want to I'll leave what do you think your characters would do hearing Yoshi cackling intermittently throughout the night?
Oh, Lee can easily sleep through. Laughing? That's it? That's it?
That's it.
Are you kidding? Lee's
out.
sleeping like a baby.
I love it. Lee's out.
Baby snail sloth.
I think Song has that thing where like repetitive noises send you into a murderous rage. And she's just like seething. She's like, I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm furious.
Love it.
Ursa is considering using the balance move. I'd like to consider using the balance move, call someone out.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Okay. So their principal is you know their principal, right?
Chaos?
Yes. Yeah, their principal is Chaos, and right now their Chaos is +1.
Okay. So I roll, and then whatever I roll is a +1.
Yes. So you roll with +1. And then if you hit, they are called to act as you say. But if you miss, yeah.
It's a 10, and then +1, it's 11.
Awesome. So how do you call them out? So their principal is Chaos. You're calling them to live up to their. They hold Chaos very dear to them. So how do you call them out? Like, what do you want them to do essentially?
I want him to do more than laugh. I want him to tell us what he knows, but I don't want him to expect think that I'm expecting that, because then he will explicitly do the opposite. So
Okay. What do you say to him?
Are you content to waste your breath on laughter?
Yes.
Funny.
Funny. I know. That's why I'm laughing.
I mistook you for someone who thrived on chaos more than buffoonery. My mistake.
Yes, it will. It is your mistake. And it won't be your last one. It won't be your last one. He decides not to act as you say, and he marks a condition, and he's now angrily laughing.
I would like to clear a condition
Oh.
by making a foolhardy decision without consulting the group.
Yeah.
And Yoshi.
You slap Yoshi?
I thought you said stab.
Oh my god, you stab you. Yeah, so he's laying like with his hands bound. So you walk up and slap him in the face. So he's angrily laughing. Yeah. That's right. That's that Arshi in you.
You seek to provoke me, but I have more patience than you possess.
Oh, no, you don't. You're all the same. You just want what you can't get, and you'll do anything to get it.
You speak from a place of ignorance.
It's funny how little you know about your family. How very, very little you know.
And it sounds like you have no intention of enlightening me. Is that right?
No! Are you gonna slap me again?
No.
Didn't it feel good, though? To have some control.
I can't quite say.
Yeah,
I haven't decided yet.
Sleep well, Ursa, Arshi. Do you go back to bed?
No.
No? Okay, you clear your condition.
Thank you.
His words, excuse me. So his words do shift your balance. His words do shift your balance toward tradition. And you can resist that if you'd like. But what he's okay. So you are standing over Yoshi after having slapped him. After this conversation, you feel the shift in your being. Roll and then go ahead and roll. And this is without any.
No modifier.
No modifiers.
It was a 4 and a 6.
So a 10.
So 10, yeah.
Nice. So you maintain your current balance in spite of what they said, in spite of Yoshi's needling. You get to choose 2 of those on your play sheet. You can either clear a condition or mark growth by immediately acting to prove them wrong, or you can that's like 1 growth tick, not a growth advancement. Or you can shift your balance toward the opposite principle, or you can learn what their principle is, but you already know what you already know.
And you said I can clear a condition and mark 1 growth?
You can clear a condition or mark growth, and you have to immediately act to prove them wrong.
Well, okay, then I would like to mark the growth.
Okay.
That.
So you mark your growth, and so what do you do? What do you do to prove Yoshi wrong? He's essentially said you're exactly like your family. In this instant, you are carrying on the Arshi tradition in this way. What do you do or say to prove him wrong?
I start to bend fire in my hands and extend it so that it's just a ring around him, and it gets closer and closer, and then I release it because I show mercy, and that's what makes it.
Interesting. Yeah. Yoshi sees this ring of blue fire around, and he laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs even harder as you take it out. And your balance shifts towards progress. Awesome. You go to sleep. Everybody gets another well, however restful you can sleep through the laughing. You awaken, and Khandro comes up to you and says and asks you as a group. You're getting prepared to leave. So Teeny is getting stocked up with supplies. The sisters are kind of helping you with this. Khandro gives you kind of a makeshift map of where you're supposed to go, the island at the tip of the Fire Nation, and asks you what your plans to do with Yoshi. He comes up and says, "We have prepared Teeny as much as we can give, we have given you. I hope this show of goodwill will enhance our relationship and bring you back to us in the future. Please be careful as you go, and for your hostage, what do you plan to do with him?"
Is he looking at all of us?
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is a conversation with all of you.
I kind of just look a little bit towards Lapis, since it's his friend. Or their friend, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of undecided. Like, I feel like I want to bring him along so I can learn more and work on kind of mending the bridge and twisting his spirit and everything, but I also understand that it's dangerous to bring him with. I guess I'd confer with more tactical minds. Would it be better to bring him along with us and maybe risk that, or leave him and leave him where we kind of know where he's going to be?
He's extra dead. I mean, he's just dead weight to me. That in the sense of, like, I don't, I'm not seeing. The dude just seems convinced to be chaotic. So I'm just like, I'm not convinced that we can make a lot of progress with him mentally in our journey. And on top of it, he's another mouth to feed. He's dead weight. It's a whole other thing. And he could turn again. He could potentially somehow, some way get out of his restraints and lead to him actually fighting us all over again, and he was a nightmare to
Mhm.
deal with. So I don't know. I'm all for leaving him with Gondro in some fashion.
He also knows things, so it's kind of like,
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, true.
like whether we're gonna get any of that out of him is
Right.
I'm not unsure.
Yeah.
Lee, Song, any opinions?
If you believe that he can be of use to us, and if you believe that if you can reach him, then we should take him. But if there is a doubt that you can do such a thing, he will most likely try to kill us.
Mhm.
Do you think you can reach him, Lapis?
I mean, all I can do is try, but I don't know.
Did your conversation with Condro help or give you any like guidance or anything on maybe on trying that?
I mean, guidance in the sense of continuing to try and reach him, but I guess nothing specific. It's just going to be try again.
Gotcha.
Song, is there any? What do you think?
It is very clear at the moment he hates us and does not want to help us. I don't know what will change in bringing him with us that might make him want to help and not actively sabotage us. That said, would he be restrained here? It feels somewhat cruel to keep him tied up for days.
Condro assumes that you're asking that to Condro.
Yeah.
Condro says we will keep him here, and if kept here, we would eventually, if I'm to be honest, unrestrain him. And if he wishes to stay, he may stay. If he chooses to live as one of us, and if he wishes to go, we would let him go
We
without
can't.
resistance.
Yeah, I've seen prisoners be left unrestrained, and it's not a good ending.
We
Usually.
can't take him or leave him while he's this dangerous.
Shigara, you know Condro. You know that if Yoshi were to try to be aggressive, like the thing is like they're not going to stop him from leaving. But if he tries to do anything violent, you understand that Condro could wipe the floor with this guy. But Condro is essentially letting you know that if you do not take him with you, there is a chance that he could escape.
There is a chance he could escape if we take him with us.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Can
Also,
we
I
bend-
hate him.
He loves you.
That makes me hate him even more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, I refer to Lee. Like, I refer to what Lee said earlier. I think is a good point. Like, if you desire to keep trying and keep after it, and especially after our conversation the other night, like, that's totally fair, and I'll back you up with that. In trying to actually get through to him. And not make you feel so much, guilt and shame and
Mhm.
upon yourself. So
I don't like that this is kind of my decision. Not my decision, but just I don't know. So you got kind of 3 leave him, 2 kind of
I'll take
bring
him.
him along.
We can flip a coin.
I'll take him along. 'Cause,
We can do the flipping of
there's-
coins.
Hey, we've restrained him before. We can certainly do it again, or at least pound him. If it gets out of hand to the best of
Yeah, it would be
5 of
5v1.
ours ability.
Yeah, it would be 5v1 if.
Right.
Sounds like we're taking him.
It sounds like we're taking them.
Ooh,
I guess, yeah.
That was a good conversation. That was nice. Little, started in one place, ending in another. Cool. Chondro looks at you all and says, "So, you will take him with you then on your journey?"
We will.
I believe it is important that you stay persistent. Don't give up on him. There is something there. Still. If there's nothing else that you need, I will see you hopefully when you return. With those words, he bows to you all. G and T hand you the reins of Teeny. You hop up. Yoshi is still restrained. How are you gonna get him on top of the? I guess I didn't even ask this last time. How are you gonna get the old boy back?
Throw
on
him.
You're gonna throw him. Okay, so yeah. I'll say like Daoku and Lapis and Song. You all work together through bending and sheer physical force to throw him. And and you hear as you go over to him, oh, another ride? We're going on another ride. I love rides. I love air bison. Hang on tight. And and as you throw him into the air, he just laughs. Okay. You all climb onto Teeny. You feel this lifting force into the air as Teeny flies in the direction. You're flying east. You're flying from the center of the Fire Nation out toward the very edges. And as you ascend higher and higher, Hari Bulkan and the island that joins it looks smaller and smaller and smaller, and you rise through the clouds into the open blue sky with the sun above, and you hear Yoshi's laughing throughout. Is there anything that you would want to do on this journey? This journey is going to take about it's going to take about like an hour and a half to 2 hours, almost pushing 3. Like it's a longer flight.
Before we get on,
yeah,
just
100%. Yeah, rewind me, baby.
I just want to Leah's going to, or maybe after, like, if Leah and Yoshi get on the bison first.
Yeah.
Leah's going to go up to Yoshi. He's going to say, "Young man, I understand that you must be in quite a lot of pain. But know this. My wards and I have been through very much lately. Those in this company, those that will be riding this bison with you, I will do what I must to protect. And if your madness becomes a danger to them, I will finish what you started in that cave. Are we understood?"
Old man, I can see you are in a lot of pain. Because you are old.
You, you had enough of this, Lee.
So far, he has proven that he is a clown. But if he becomes a danger, it is a long fall. That's all Lee wants to do.
Love it. I love it. I love it. You're up high in the air above the clouds, making your way to this unnamed, uninhabited island at the very far tips of the Fire Nation, and it's the group of islands that make it up. Anything y'all want to talk about while you're in the air? There's no like airships like to speak of that would be untoward to you all in this era. So like your flight is very smooth. Like, there's nothing besides Yoshi cackling and antagonizing you all. The flight, it goes pretty undisturbed. But I want to leave it open for y'all to talk about anything if there's anything that comes up. Otherwise, we can go into landing on the island.
Can water
also,
benders bend clouds because they're made of water?
Yes, they can. Yeah, that's canon.
I feel like Song just like doodles
In the
with
clouds?
clouds. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. As you're doodling, you hear Yoshi go, cat, dog, anchor, long cloud. That looks like a Do you know what that looks like, Song?
The phallic cloud that he's referring to, she like rips it in half.
I really like you.
She does that.
Rolls her eyes. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Does it?
Amazing. Anything else that we want to do as we look at create clouds and break cumulus penises?
I guess if I can, I'd like to kind of just sit with Yoshi and just I don't know,
Yeah.
try to have some kind of conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I guess I'm not sure where to start.
You catch Yoshi, you sit next to him, and he's not laughing as much. He's kind of, no person can really laugh all the time. He laughs a lot, but like you catch him in a more like quiet, just kind of lying down. His hands have been bound this entire time, and you notice that his hands are like the wrists where the bounds, like they're getting very rough and raw and red. And you can tell that while he has lost his balance, fundamentally, he's not immune to how uncomfortable he's been for the last 2 days.
I guess I in noticing that, I kind of sidle up to Lee and request a little of his Tiradillo bomb.
Oh, do you know? Hold on. Has this is a point of Lee? This
sorry,
is a point
sorry.
of like no, that's okay. Like Lee, have you talked about your balm with the group? I know Daoku knows, but like as you is this something you've brought up as you've ascended?
Yeah, I think he's probably like, like an old guy discovers something new and he's got to tell everybody about the thing that they already know. Yeah, that's definitely.
And also
that's
like your
definitely a need
hand,
for sure. Yeah,
right? Like your hand,
yeah,
steadying. I feel like he'd be like, "Look at this."
yeah.
Ursa, you immediately recognize just like Daoku, you recognize the texture of the balm. One thing that you've never seen before is how close a look do you get at that little thing? Like, are you passing the whole container around, Lee? Awesome. So Ursa, as it comes to you, you notice that blue flame sigil on the back, and you know that is usually stamped on things that the Arshi family owns. So any scrolls that they would write, any like technique, any holy scriptures, artifacts, relics, like these things that are owned by the Arshi, are created by the Arshi family, are stamped with this blue flame insignia. You have not seen a salve like this with this insignia on it.
Huh. That's new. Where did you get this? Ursa asks Lee.
I got it from a custodian fisherman on the docks.
You hear in your memory, Lee, fuck yeah, you did.
But I noticed that it was also offered to me by a young, very aggressive salesman when I first got into town. Coincidentally, he was also named Lee.
Notwithstanding the unusual profession of the person you visited, and now this rather forward salesperson, did they say anything about it before they gave it to you? Did you purchase this? What,
This one in particular was given to me as a gift. It was supposed to help me with my hands, which it has very much. But the previous time that this was introduced to me, it was done so as a burn salve.
Can I smell it?
Be my guest.
Ursa smells the jar,
Mm-hmm.
and it smells familiar.
Yeah. I'm gonna. What would you like to do in this moment? Do you want to roll for creativity? Roll for focus? What's your thought process in this moment?
I'll roll for focus.
Yeah, roll it. Go ahead. Yeah, try to find a new insight as you smell this salve.
I roll a 5. My focus is +1, so it's a 6.
You roll
It's
a
not
6.
much.
On a miss, I'll say that it's a smell that you recognize like it's in your very recent memory. At this moment, you're just like, what is that? Like that is it's like very recent to you. Would anyone want to help Ursa on this?
Yeah, I'll do the help.
Yeah.
You'd say to try to get it to 7.
Yeah, to get it to 7.
Yeah, I'll do that. Actually,
Or if other people want to smell it.
Yeah. That's how he'll help, I imagine.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay. All right, I've marked it.
So you helped now on a 7. So Daoku, you grab it from her and you smell it and you immediately look at Ursa and go and say, you immediately realize that it smells like the leaf that Ursa had gotten from the cavern. And I'm gonna say that you ask for Ursa to, like, upon saying this, like, to procure the leaf, like to double check, check.
This smells just like that leaf in that cave. Like, let's see. Let's take it out here.
On a 7, as you pass the leaf from Ursa to Daoku, wind takes it, and it floats down into the ocean. And you close the salve very carefully, and hand the salve back to Lee.
Quick, Lapis, airbend
Well,
it.
shit.
Quick,
Airbend it back.
Oh, hey, yeah, okay, yes. You all are awesome benders.
I was gonna say that or wind bend it, or not wind, water bend it.
On the ocean, yeah.
It's falling. You all are way high up, So we can slow time down here if as it happens, Song, you say Lapis wouldn't bend it. Lapis, if you want to roll with focus, see what you can do about
Yeah.
Dear.
Dear
Oh,
God.
it.
oh, big money, big money.
Heart of the cards.
Come on, heart of the
Heart of the
cards.
cards.
Believe in the heart of the cards. It's a 10.
Hey! Oh my God! So I love this. So Lee, you're passing around this like this thing. Ursa, you feel that it's familiar. Daoku helps you place the scent. You grab the leaf out of your bag. It falls and flies instantly out, almost out of sight. Song, you say Lapis, airbend it, and Lapis in a one of the most delicate displays of airbending that you've shown thus far, you immediately like instinctively just like send this little spinning tornado of twister of air, and it gently guides the leaf back, and you all see the leaf like turn direction and just ride this current very smoothly back into the saddle of Teeny, and you firmly grasp the leaf. Lapis, you now have the leaf. Awesome, well done, Lapis. You have the leaf now.
So I take the leaf and I, give it back.
Two hand. Ursa,
Yeah,
Ursa, you have the leaf now. You confirm as you smell the leaf, they are the same. Like it's the same smell.
Good instinct, Daoku. They are one and the same.
Cool. Super duper cool. And so you can infer from this, not to just spell it out, but you can infer from this that the leaf that you found in that cave is legit dragon leaf, most likely. Like if it's included in this burn salve, it's actually helping Lee's thang. This is good. And now Lapis, you are next to Yoshi, and you see his you see how raw his wrists are. That's kind of where this all started. After this whole adventure with the leaf happened, what would you like to do?
So I have the jar, right, and I just kind of go up to Yoshi and sit down and just say, "May I?"
You're gonna waste that on him?
Yes. Do you have a problem with this? Lee, do you have a problem with me using this?
Lee is gonna put a hand on Daoku's shoulder. He's going to say, "Just watch." And
Okay.
Lee's gonna give the salve to Lapis.
Very well, very well.
So I sit next to Yoshi and I ask him, "Do you mind if I apply this to your wrists?"
Stupid is as stupid does.
Is that a yes?
It's not a no.
Okay. And so I gently dab some of the balm kind of into his wrist.
You see Yoshi take in a huge deep breath and see like his shoulders relax a bit.
So I'm glad I could. No, it's not comfortable coming with us, but I'm glad I could give you some comfort.
I have feet too, you know.
We'll stick with the hands for now. But I kind of create a little bit of like a gentle wind through it too, so that kind of increases a little bit of the icy I'm feeling to it. so it desensitizes a little bit of the pain.
Mhm.
Um,
Yoshi doesn't laugh for the rest of the trip.
yeah.
You all, after this long flight, making the clouds and having this leaf incident, rubbing the balm, you begin to feel a teeny descent through the clouds, and the sun is not descending, but it's like past noon. You can tell by the direction of the sun, and you begin your descent, and the clouds. Ooh, the clouds don't end. You're above the clouds in the sun, and you descend through them, and there's just clouds and clouds and clouds and clouds. You can feel your ears popping as the pressure in the air changes, but there is mist everywhere. The sun is blotted out. It is dark and cold. And as you go further and further, you begin to see around you the tops of trees, mountains just peeking through this dense, dense fog. And it is shining in colors briefly in certain places. It's this ethereal thickness that you've never experienced before. And you finally, after descending through this canopy in essentially what is this very periodic and spontaneous glimmering light show of fog, you eventually hit ground, and the plants are lush. The trees are tall. You can see barely even your feet on the ground as you slide off of Teeny. And even as you walk a few meters away from Teeny and you look back, it is very easy to lose your space here. You are completely surrounded. And yet, as you step forward, Ursa, you feel a crunch underneath your feet. And as you move your foot from behind, you see underneath it a crushed bone. And that is where we're going to end our session for today.
That was sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. So this is the end of our session for today. Thank you so much. We are now on this unnamed island, baby, and I am very excited for next session. You have no idea. And now is the time for growth. My awesome friends, did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world? I'd say that's a yes for everybody. Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem? I actually don't know about that one, but for this one, did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center? I think everybody can mark that one. I think everybody helped a companion toward balance this session. And then you also, don't forget, have your personal growths, and I think we're at a point where I don't have to read those all for you. You all know what you're doing. That being said, does anybody have a growth advancement? Nice. Ursa's got a growth advancement. I know. Is this your second one? Do you have two stacked? Or no, you have a... Nice. You have a new one, Cat. Nice. Anyone else have a growth advancement? Cool. I kind of want to add, this won't be in the recording, but I do want to add what we do for Tyler's. I do want to kind of just go around and like say how our characters feel about like their bonds with the world and each other. Tyler always ends this with like, bond changes. And I kind of want to add that just because I feel like it gives us, I feel like last session I learned like we can get really intense here. And I feel like just having that moment to kind of systematically go through everybody and give everybody a chance to debrief is kind of nice. So Tyler, since I'm stealing from you, you can go first. Lee, any like any bond changes, any changes like with the group or the world?
Yeah, well, so I think Lee, this is like the first time Lee and Daoku have like had a moment on their like field trip. So that was really cool. I think Lee has always respected Daoku because he's like seems like the most kind of like almost similar to like a younger version of himself, and he definitely wants to like try and mentor him if he needs. Um, Song he's very just like she's got it, she's good. He's gonna continue to just demonstrate different like fighting styles to her because he's like, oh, she can take it.
And Lapis is now your protege. I just want to.
Yeah. Lapis is now protege. Lee definitely like sees like a lot of the guilt in Lapis, and he's like, I know that.
Yeah.
And then Ursa, Lee. I think Lee is like has like just like a healthy bit of fear. Just like a healthy bit of fear. Just because like he's seen her literally and figuratively burn people the whole time he's known her. And so he's just like, okay, all right, well that could get out of control quickly, but probably not. Like it'll probably be okay. And then yeah, he's just like keeping an eye on Yoshi, and he's like he sees through what's going on with Yoshi, but he's like, I mean, he's still very dangerous. So,
yeah, absolutely.
He's willing to kill him if he needs to.
I love that. Yeah, and that's death is like not a huge like you all can't die unless we talk about it, but like people in the world die all the time. So let's go with the other Malto Quest vet song. Bond changes.
I don't think anything has changed with Daoku. I think she appreciates that he also is incredibly annoyed by Yoshi. I think she feels like she knows Lapis a little bit better just by seeing him kind of interact with people more. And I think hanging out with the air nomads has kind of like given her some insight, and she kind of is like, oh, we both like we're in monasteries a lot, like that's something we have in common. Like she appreciates that Lee like understands the level she's at and like knows just enough, like is kind of like the perfect level of tutor where he just kind of like guides her in the right direction. He is kind of like, yeah, you get it. But she appreciates the tips. And I think she is very almost like she like wants to be more like Ursa. I think she really admires her patience and like restraint and like control. Especially in terms of like talking to Yoshi, because I mean Song was just like quietly seething. She's like, if I talk to him, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. Meanwhile, Ursa was able to like deliver some sick burns while like keeping her cool.
And we'll go to Ursa now. I have the one who slapped Yoshi today. Any bond changes, Ursa? So just to be more clear, it's like this is like bonds with the world, with people in the world, and also like bonds with your fellow adventurers.
I think Ursa continues to strengthen her bond with Song in these really impromptu but deeply meaningful one-on-ones that we continue to have. There hasn't been a bond change with Daoku, but he does continue to support Ursa in a way that feels really like laid back, which is appreciated. I think there's like with the bow incident, like it's hard to know when to intercede and when not to. And so I think we're kind of on a growth journey in understanding each other. And I don't think there's been much of a bond change with Lee, simply because Ursa hasn't had many exchanges with Lee. Um, though is like very cognizant of the way he's able to diffuse situations. And that's a skill that she is trying to grasp. And not always accomplishing, like with the talk with Chondro that seemed to kind of go in a circle. It's hard to know what to do sometimes, and I think knowing either what to do or knowing that you don't know what to do is that growth journey.
Yeah.
And I think Ursa's trying to make just keep Lapis in her scope a little bit more.
Love it. Yeah, those airbenders are very circuitous. They don't like getting to the point.
And very thankful that the dragon leaf was saved, because it was about to be a very solemn moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Daoku bond changes.
I mean, definitely like I think it was a big bonding just generally with Lapis and Lee with our conversations and rememberings.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and I think he's having a lot more group cohesion. He still has like a edge, I think, to just wanting to get things done or like do it a little bit his way, but I think he's more in line with like, okay, like let's also look at like what does the group want to take on or do or whatever, not just the like main goal of protecting Ursa. I think is kind of the big shift here. Like I went off with Lee on our own little thing, and part of me was like, well, you know, he wouldn't leave, like he wouldn't go anywhere without Ursa. Like that's the whole, you know. But I'm saying like I think that he's just getting more comfortable around it all, and I think it makes sense with his military background that he can start to fold in to the group a little better. But yeah, I mean, but then yeah, the song definitely we bond with the distaste for Yoshi for sure. I'm also getting pretty disillusioned with like the whole, like, cause you know I was part of the military, so I'm getting pretty disillusioned with like what the hell's all happening. Like I thought what I once was part of or you know knew to be kind of a good thing is like very, it's very unstable foundation.
Yeah, there's a lot of like cloak and daggers happening.
Yeah, and I'm very out front. I mean, I was like a guard, so it's just like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I think with Ursa, yeah, I think I've taken more of a, it gets back to it all, just more of a step back a little bit and not be so heavy-handed. Because like Song mentioned, you know, she's got plenty of burns to sling herself and can, you know, doesn't really need the guide as much. But yeah, I think that's my main things.
Love it. And last but not least, Lapis.
Yeah, so that was the big bonding with Daoku and Lee.
Yeah.
Kind of he hasn't really shared that event with anyone really, and didn't expect to or didn't plan to, but kind of after hearing their stories and kind of being in the midst of trying to figure out what he's going to do and how, like, what the recent events, that was a big shift. So he kind of has a bond with them. Still trying to figure out kind of like what his plan is, what his role is. He doesn't like people like not liking him. And so the fact that like everyone else in the group is like okay with him, like he doesn't have to necessarily worry about his bonds with them, but like since Yoshi doesn't like him, or he has this disconnect with him, he like feels for multiple reasons it's his responsibility to connect with him and to figure out
Mhm.
what's going on, and is kind of feeling that everyone's getting really annoyed with Yoshi. Feeling his ideals, although he's not doing them, are being torn asunder. So that's why his focus right now is Yoshi and trying to like bond with that.
Mhm.
But also, I mean, so kind of everyone else is kind of on the wayside because they like me, so hopefully they'll help me out. But definitely aware that they all don't like Yoshi, and so he's trying to fix it as quickly as he can so that we
Right.
can all be one happy family.
Yeah.
Yeah.